Right, it's 3 minutes past now, so I think I'll make a start. So, good afternoon and welcome to this session. My name's Glynn Morgan. I'm one of the careers advisors that works at UCLan, and I've been asked by the school to do a little introduction to graduate schemes for neuroscience graduates and psychology graduates. So this afternoon is all about showing you some websites where you can find out all about graduate schemes, what they are, the kinds of employers that offer them. And hopefully I'll also be able to tell you about how careers can help you with the process of applying, understanding about selection and assessment centres, so things like that as well. I'm hopefully going to talk for about 20 minutes. If there's any questions, if you just hold them to the end of the session, we can tackle those at the end. Okay. Right. So let's move on. So let's define our terms. So what are graduate schemes? Well, they've existed for a long time, and there's some kind of structured training program that an employer introduces where that they can select staff for usually 18 months, 2 years, to give you a structured experience of that organisation and hopefully a permanent job at the end of it. Some graduate schemes, the job is permanent from the beginning. Some it's an offer at the end of the programme. Okay, one of the things with graduate schemes, unfortunately, is they come under all sorts of different titles. So things like a graduate leadership programme or fast track or a graduate development programme. So different organisations may call it a different thing, but essentially it's a programme where staff can join an organisation and get training and development as you go along. Okay. Graduate schemes tend to be offered by larger organisations. So people like Lidl, Google, the BBC, the NHS has a big graduate scheme, the civil service, some local government, but sometimes obscure kind of organisations like Cancer Research, for example, they have a graduate scheme. So there's a whole variety. People like Teach First, if you're interested in teaching. You know, a lot of the energy companies, a lot of the finance companies have graduate schemes. Now, a lot of graduate schemes are open to any degree subject, but clearly there are some graduate schemes that are after very specific subjects. So, for example, a railway company might look to recruit an engineer, but alongside that, they may also have a business program that's open to any graduate subject. Okay. What else do I want to say? As I said, they cover all different sectors of the labour market. Now, we need to talk a little bit about timing. So what tends to happen is graduate schemes would start early in the academic year. So they perhaps would start being advertised in September, October of the year, and then they would recruit on the months up to Christmas. Some graduate schemes would, have deadlines around Christmas. Others would carry on their recruitment throughout the year. Now, if you're in your third year now, you might say, well, can I apply for a graduate scheme now? I haven't actually got my degree or master's, for example. Well, the answer is that you can, but what happens is the employer may make you a conditional offer. They may say, we will offer you this job providing you get a 2-1 or something like that in your final degree. So if you're in your third year and you are thinking about a graduate scheme, you can apply now with the expectation that you're going to pass your degree in June. Or alternatively, you can look at the graduate schemes now and wait till you actually graduate and apply again September, October of next year. It's entirely up to you. Okay. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview of what graduate schemes are, the employers that use them, and a bit about the process. But clearly, if you're confronted with a whole range of different graduate schemes, it's very important that you spend some time thinking about what it is you want from the graduate scheme, and also what kind of areas of work you're actually interested in. Because I mentioned that a number of the graduate schemes are open to any degree subject. That's perfectly true. But clearly, when you apply for a graduate scheme, the employer wants to know that you are a good fit for their particular opportunity. So I think before you look at some of the websites that I'm going to show you later on in this session, you spend some time thinking about what it is you want from a graduate scheme. So if you've got a pen and paper near you, that might be useful, because I'm going to fire some questions at you. Okay. Now, I'm not necessarily looking for you to answer them today, but they're kind of rhetorical questions that I think you should be asking yourself all the time, really. And my first question is, what are your skills and interests? A graduate scheme is definitely going to be interested in the transferable skills that you offer. So it might be useful to, as I say, get down on a pen and paper some of the skills that you think you've already got. Okay, so they could be soft skills in terms of communication and teamwork, or they could be some of the more technical skills like your lab experience or SPSS or whatever it is you think is more kind of technical. And what actually interests you? I think that's really important. Do you see yourself working in the NHS, or do you see yourself working in a bank? Which would interest you? Which wouldn't interest you? Thinking about that, I think, is important. What do I value the most? What kind of values have I got? Some of the graduate schemes will say we want our applicants to match our values. So if you've spent some time thinking about your values and what's important to you, then it will help you when you're trying to match yourself against what some graduate schemes ask for. And finally, and I think an important question is, what do you actually want from your career? Are you looking for a lot of job satisfaction? Are you looking for a high salary? Are you looking to move in a particular sector of the job market? These kinds of ideas and questions are things that I think you need to kind of reflect on before you actually go on some of the websites. Because what the websites want you to do is almost know the kinds of job titles or sectors that you're interested in, because that's how they'll direct you to the opportunities. Okay, so hopefully, you know, when you've got a spare 5 minutes, you can sit down and perhaps go through some of those questions and have a think about them and get some of your thoughts on paper or type them up to help you with your applications. Okay, so let's start off with the actual websites. And as I said, in the chat, I've put all the website links there, so you can look at those at a future time. So Target. So Target Jobs is one of the national websites that advertises lots of graduate schemes. So as I said, if we looked at Target Jobs now, we would see that there are a number of graduate schemes recruiting as we speak, and people can apply for them now. What I think is useful is going through the particular sections on the website. As you can see, it does advertise a range of opportunities. And as you can see in this screenshot that I put on this slide, there is a drop-down box which has got a very helpful kind of list of careers. So you can click on the ones that you think are of interest to you and then do a search that way. Or it may be that you have a particular area that you feel you want to go into, and you can search on that basis as well. So Target is a good place to start. It's a national website and it will have a range of opportunities, all sectors of graduate schemes. What I'm going to talk about next is a different type of website. So GradCracker is a different type of website. Rather than being a general kind of website with jobs and opportunities on, this particular website is much more interested in STEM careers. That's how it kind of sells itself and markets itself. So what GradCracker has on is graduate jobs and schemes aimed at STEM graduates, but it also has placements on as well. They might be summer placements, but also 10-month or year-long placements, if you like. So GradCracker is a good place to go if you're both interested in graduate schemes, but also placements and things like that. Now, unfortunately, there isn't a section on it for psychology or neuroscience. So what I'm saying you have to do is you have to look within the different categories to see which sections may consider psychology or neuroscience graduates. And particularly, I think, in the section headed science. So if this was a live website, I could click on it and we could take you in and you'd see that there's a whole variety of different scientific jobs and schemes there. So GradCracker's good if you know that you're definitely looking for a STEM related opportunity. Okay, moving on. Another website that's useful to look at, another sort of national one. It's not linked particularly to any particular sector, is a website called Jobs Graduate. And what you can do on that is put in a job title and then put an area of the country or a location, and then it will do a search on that particular area. So it's quite a good way to see what's available in a particular area of the country that you might be in. And it would certainly have a list of the general schemes. As you can see from this screenshot, it's got a variety of different employers on there. So we've got everybody from Lidl. EduStaff are a kind of recruitment agency for education. Hayes is a big recruitment agency. So it'll have a variety of different opportunities on there. So it's worthwhile spending a bit of time. But the more clarity you have about the kind of jobs titles that you're interested in, the easier it will be to use these websites. They're not intuitive. They can't, come up with things for you. You have to put in the job titles in order to do the searches. That's why I think that reflection is so important before you start searching on the websites. Okay, and last but by no means least is Handshake. Hopefully you know about Handshake. Handshake is our system at UCLan. We share it with 30 other universities. So lots of universities would share the vacancies that they have on Handshake. So if you go on Handshake, you will see a variety of both graduate jobs and graduate schemes being advertised now, but also it's a facility that you can use when you graduate as well. So your access to Handshake will not finish when you actually finish at UCLan. We offer lifelong support and help within careers, so it's something that you can access as long as we have it as part of our offer. Okay, so Handshake is another good way for searching out different placements and graduate schemes and jobs. Okay, I would definitely advise you to download the app so that you've got it. And as I said, you can use that to either search for jobs, book an appointment, attend any of our events that we have. So that's a useful thing that you can do. Okay, I want to finish off by talking a little bit about the help that we can offer within careers around graduate schemes. So as I mentioned, graduate schemes tend to be offered by bigger organisations. So if you do apply, it's probably not going to be sufficient to just send a CV. The chances are it's going to be quite a detailed application form, and it's going to ask you a series of questions, ask for evidence of your skills, knowledge and experience. And sometimes this can seem quite daunting. So definitely we can help you with that process. So by booking an appointment, see a careers advisor, you could get some help around completing all the sections on an application form. And as I said, some forms are more complex than others, but as I said, we can help you in careers. Hopefully, if your application form is successful, you might be invited to an interview or an assessment centre. So I would definitely highlight to you that we offer mock interviews for people. So if you are invited for an interview, whatever the organisation, if you want an idea of what you're going to be asked to do at interview, we can give you a good estimation of the type of questions, the sort of scoring that they might do at interview, and how to work through that process. The other thing that some graduate schemes have is a thing called an assessment centre. In the olden days, you used to be invited to a hotel, and people would you'd be asked to do a series of activities throughout the day, but then these days assessment centres can be online as well as face to face. So we can support you and help you to understand what an assessment centre is all about and some of the activities that you might be facing when you go for an assessment centre. Also, we can help you look at alternatives. Graduate schemes are only one of the choices that you have. Lots of employers don't necessarily have a graduate scheme, but they have graduate recruitment. So one of the things that I want to highlight today is that there are lots of other graduate jobs that you could look for. Some will be on places like Handshake or GradCracker, but sometimes they're on specialist websites linked to the particular sector that you're into. So it's useful to book in with careers, and we can try and analyse that and help you come up with the right places to look for the opportunities that you're looking for. Okay. Right, so that finishes most of the formal chat that I wanted to do today. I'm looking for some feedback. I've done a number of these sessions over the last couple of weeks. So what I'd ask you to do is take a photograph of that QR code and give me some feedback, please, on the session, particularly any ideas for the future and that kind of thing.